My clients in their 50s and 60s are looking 20 years younger, training just 2 days a week. And this is the same method I use to take my body from this to this. Most men over 50 think they need to train 5 to 6 days a week to look younger, but that's exactly why they stay stuck. In this video, I'll walk you through the exact 2-day plan, including exercises, sets, and reps, and explain why it works so damn well for men over 50. Here's why most men over 50 never make progress. They're following 5 to 6 day workout programs designed for young influencers or guys on steroids with unlimited recovery capacity. And what happens when you do that? You overtrain, your cortisol spikes, your joints ache, you're exhausted, and you look the same month after month. After 50, the key isn't more volume, it's more recovery. Muscle grows between workouts, not during them. That's why every client I coach follows what I call the law of 2. The law of 2 is 2 workouts per week and 2 sets per exercise. Following this law of 2, my dad Zadok at 53 years old lost 28 pounds in 90 days and built visible muscle over 6 months. My client Daniel at 62 dropped 74 pounds in 6 months and completely rebuilt his physique. Henry at 57 lost 21 pounds in 8 weeks and completely transformed his body. This works ridiculously well because it's built for the real recovery capacity of men in their 50s and 60s. Everyone else is focused on more workouts, more sets, more exercises. But progress after 50 comes from doing less and recovering more. Now let's get into the actual program structure. Most guys' workouts are all over the place. There's no clear structure and everything is completely random. Here's how we eliminate the bullshit. It's 2 full body sessions per week, 6 exercises per session, and 2 sets per exercise. It's extremely simple, and that's exactly why it works so well. So most of my clients will do their workout A on either Monday or Tuesday, and they'll do their workout B on either Thursday or Friday. The key is that you just always leave 72 hours of rest between these sessions. Every effective weight training program is built on the core 6, the movement patterns your body was designed for. We have squats, hip hinges, vertical pushes, vertical pulls, horizontal pushes, and horizontal pulls. To find the exercises that you're gonna put in the routine structure that I just laid out for you, you just wanna pick one exercise for each of these movement patterns, and then those become your linchpin movements. Those become your core 6. Your goal then becomes to master your core 6 exercises and get as strong as you possibly can at them over time. The quality of your physique will always be in direct proportion to how strong you can get at your core 6. Here's some good examples of core 6 exercises for each of these movement patterns. So maybe your core 6 would be Bulgarian split squats, Romanian deadlifts, machine overhead press, pull-ups, dips, and machine rows. You want to pick the exercises that work really well for your body and that you enjoy doing, because you're going to stick with these exercises for a very long time in order to master them and get really strong at them. Once you've picked your core 6 exercises, you want to pick 3 isolation exercises per routine for smaller muscle groups like biceps, triceps, calves, abs, and rear delts. Anything beyond that is just noise. So here's an example workout routine using the exact core 6 exercises that we just picked. So your workout A is going to be pull-ups, Bulgarian split squats, machine overhead presses, tricep extensions, calf raises, and face pulls. Your workout B is going to be dips, Romanian deadlifts, machine rows, bicep curls, lateral raises, and hanging knee raises. So again, these are your core 6 exercises, and then these are the isolation exercises for your smaller muscle groups. Now for every single exercise in this routine, you're only going to be doing 2 working sets. Now, why only 2 working sets? Well, what most men over 50 get wrong is that they think more volume equals more muscle growth. It truly doesn't. More volume just spreads your effort thinner. It dilutes the intensity that you can pour into each set. 2 hard sets that you push close to failure will always beat 5 half-assed sets where you're just going through the motions and leaving repetitions in the tank every single time. So here's what happens to most men without them even realizing it. Most men will go into their workouts and they'll do 5 sets per exercise. But what they don't realize is that each of those sets is done with maybe 50% effort, because what happens is that on a subconscious level, you're aware that you have 5 sets to get through. And so what you do is you conserve energy and intensity in order to make it through all those 5 sets. So you end up doing 5 sets, but none of those sets are done with enough effort to actually stimulate muscle growth. You leave repetitions on the tank on every single one of them. So you're just doing endless sets, wasting your time and not actually stimulating growth. Now, if we flip the script and you do just 2 sets, like I'm recommending you, what will happen is that Subconsciously, you'll be like, oh, I only have 2 sets to do. I better actually make these 2 sets count. So what happens is that you pour 100% effort into each of those sets, right? And this is a way more productive way to approach your training than just doing endless sets for the sake of it and just going through the motions, never really stimulating growth. 2 hard sets done close to failure will always stimulate more muscle growth. The reason being is because training hard is what actually stimulates muscle growth to begin with. Everyone is so focused on doing endless volume. Volume's not that important for stimulating growth. Most men will leave 3 to 5 reps in the tank on account of doing more volume, not realizing that it's actually not helping them stimulate muscle growth. Doing 2 sets that you actually push close to failure will always build more muscle. And the key thing here as well is that this will actually accumulate less fatigue. So you'll be more likely to actually recover between sessions because you're not doing as much volume. So you always want to pick the path of doing fewer sets, but actually making them count. This is why less is more when it comes to weight training. Quick side note before we keep going. If you're a man over 50 who's ready to finally lose the gut, build muscle, and get into the best shape of your life using this exact 2-day system, I want to help you do it properly. I run a 12-week one-on-one coaching program built around this exact method. You'll receive a personalized 2-day training plan, a custom nutrition plan, private one-on-one calls with me each month, exercise form reviews via Zoom, and 24/7 access to my phone number for support whenever you need it. Because this is truly one-on-one and I do all the coaching myself, I only onboard 3 new men each month. And when those spots are full, new applications go to a wait list. And there's 0 risk involved. You get a full 30-day test drive. Try the entire program, and if it's not the simplest, most effective plan you've ever followed, I'll refund 100% of your money. And on our first call inside the program, we'll also set a clear 12-week target together. And if you do your part and don't hit that target, I'll coach you free until you do. So if you're ready, click the link below, fill out a short application, and pick a time for your free call. On that call, we'll map out your 2-day plan and see if you're a fit. All right, let's get back to the video. Here's exactly how to perform your 2 working sets for your compound exercises, the first 3 exercises of each routine. So I call this the Polarity training method. It's 1 heavy set followed by 1 lighter set, both pushed close to failure. So for your first set, you're gonna do 6 to 8 reps. And then for your second set, I want you to take 10% of the weight off the bar and go for 8 to 10 reps. So it's just a top set followed by a back down set. The reason why I absolutely love this training style is because it allows you to put maximum effort and focus into your first set because you're aware of the fact that you only have to do that really heavy weight once. A lot of people will do things like straight sets across where they're using the same weight across every single set. And what happens is that because they're aware of the fact that they have to replicate that weight multiple times, they don't actually push any of the sets very hard because again, they're aware of the fact that they're gonna have to replicate it. So they leave some in the tank in order to actually get through all the sets. But when you know there's only 1 heavy set to do before you can go a little bit lighter, it allows you to pour maximum effort and intensity into this first set. It creates a beautiful psychological effect. And that's important because the first set is always the most important set. It's where you'll be able to do the most damage because it's when you're fresh. Now for isolation exercises, which are just the final 3 exercises of each routine that I showed you, I want you to simply do straight sets. Because isolation exercises are a lot less demanding, you don't need to use this training style. You can if you want to, but I find it simpler to just do straight sets across. So to keep things simple, for every single isolation exercise, I literally just want you to do 2 sets of 10 to 15 reps with the same weight. Between sets of compound exercises, I want you to rest between 3 to 4 minutes. Between sets of isolation exercises, I want you to rest between 1 to 2 minutes. And for every single set that you do in this routine, I want you to push it to about 0 reps in reserve. Now, 0 reps in reserve is just the point at which you've squeezed out every single rep that you can do using good form. The whole reason why we do low volume training is to facilitate harder training. In weight training, there exists a trade-off between volume and intensity. The more volume you do, aka exercises and sets, the less hard you can train. The less volume you do, the harder you can train. And remember, this is what we want. We want to actually train hard. We don't want to do endless volume. We want to train harder so that we can stimulate more muscle growth and get in and out of the gym quicker. A lot of men will adopt this style of training and then continue on training as if they're doing endless volume, which means leaving 3 to 5 repetitions in the tank on every single set. That's not what you want to do. You actually have to make these sets count. Now that you're doing fewer sets per exercise, this should naturally occur, but you just want to make sure that you're making those sets count and actually pushing them hard. Now, I know you might be thinking, doesn't pushing it to 0 reps in reserve cause injuries for men over 50? The answer is actually no. What most men believe is that pushing hard in the gym and lifting heavy is what causes injuries. That could not be further from the truth. What causes most injuries in the gym is actually overuse, which is where you get micro traumas to your tendons, joints, and ligaments as a result of doing too much volume. So too many days in the gym, too many exercises, too many sets, too many reps. That causes more injuries than lifting heavy and pushing close to failure. The important caveat with this, and what I said here, is 0 reps in reserve doesn't mean squeezing out as many reps as possible. It's squeezing out as many reps as possible with good form. That caveat is extremely important. You do not want to sacrifice your technique in order to get more reps. You want to rack it as soon as you've squeezed out every single rep that you can do using good fucking form. Okay? You don't want to sacrifice your technique to get more reps. That's what causes injuries, okay? If you're pushing hard and you're also using shitty technique, you will get hurt. But the point here is that you're using good technique and you know your limits. You know when to rack the bar before you start using shitty technique in order to squeeze out more reps. Now, another thing you might be thinking is, why are the rest times so long? Well, what I've seen working with plenty of men over 50 is that most guys rest way too little between sets, and it completely destroys their progress. Most men go into the gym and they're doing 5 sets per exercise, and they try and condense it into as short a time period as possible. So they'll rest like 30 seconds to a minute between sets, and they'll wonder why they're spinning their wheels, never seeing progress. You need to rest long enough between sets in order to get close to being able to replicate the same level of intensity. So if you finish this first set and you push that to failure, right? And you rest 30 seconds before you get into the next one, do you think this set is gonna have any sort of quality? Absolutely not, because you're not recovered. You need to get to the point where you're able to replicate the same level of intensity. Otherwise, you're just doing junk volume, which is just reps for the sake of doing reps, not actually quality reps that stimulate growth. And there's also another factor here, which is that you have 2 different types of muscle fibers. You have fast twitch muscle fibers and you have slow twitch muscle fibers. The muscle fibers that have the most potential for muscle growth are the fast twitch muscle fibers. Those muscle fibers are stimulated by resting long between sets, pushing close to failure, and lifting relatively heavy. If you rest very short between sets, you're only going to be able to stimulate the slow twitch muscle fibers, which do not have a greater growth potential. They have a very actually shit growth potential compared to the fast twitch fibers. So you want to rest long enough between sets in order to be able to continually stimulate those fast twitch muscle fibers. Now you might be wondering, do I need to warm up for these 2 working sets? The answer is yes, of course, but you only need to warm up for the first 3 exercises of each routine. So only the big compound exercises that come first. And as far as the warm-up goes, you do not want to drag it out. You need to preserve your energy for your working sets. So here's the warm-up protocol that I use with all my clients and that I use myself that works really, really well. So you only need to do about 2 warm-up sets per exercise. You can do 3 if you really want to, but 2 is sufficient for most people. For the first warm-up set, I want you to literally just do 50% of your first working set weight for about 6 reps. So you'll literally take whatever weight you're using for your first working set here, multiply it by 50%, and then do 6 reps. That's it. And then for your second warm-up set, I want you to do 70% of your first working set weight for 3 reps. So you don't need to actually rest between these warm-up sets. I like to just crank them out. So I'll do the first one, and then I'll jump straight into the second one. And then once I finish the 2 warm-up sets, I'll then take 3 minutes of rest and then get into my working sets. Now, what we're about to talk about here is actually the most important part of this video. The only thing that matters at the end of the day when it comes to building muscle and improving your physique is, are you getting stronger over time? Most men over 50 do not have a systematic way to improve their strength over time. Most men lift the same weights month after month and then wonder why their bodies aren't changing. You need to have a progression method in place, something that guides your progress over time and ensures that week by week, you're getting a little bit stronger, whether that's adding a rep here and there or adding some weight. So I recommend using the double progression method. This is what I use with all of my clients. So here's how this works. Let's say that after this video, you're going into your first workout and you're gonna do bench press. Now, I'm only gonna demonstrate this on your first set. Keep in mind as I'm going through this that this applies to every single set that you do, whether it's the first set, second set, or sets of your isolation exercises as well. But I'm just going to use the first set as an example here. So let's say that on week 1, on your first set, you're going to go for 185 pounds and you're going to try to get 6 reps. Well, on week 2, you're going to stick with 185 pounds, but you're going to try to get 7 reps. On week 3, you'll still be with 185 pounds, but you're going to try to get 8 reps. Now, on week 4, you're actually going to go up to 190 pounds and you're going to try to get 6 reps. So essentially what you did here is that you were working with 185 pounds, in week 1, you went for 6 reps because that's the bottom of the rep range. And then over a few weeks, you worked your way up to 8 reps, which happens to be the top end of the rep range of the first set. Once you hit the top end of the rep range, you then add 5 pounds and then drop to the bottom of the rep range again, in this case, 6 reps. Here, you're literally just going to repeat the process again. So in week 5, you're going to be with 190 pounds and you're going to try to get 7 reps, right? So you're constantly either trying to add reps or a little bit of weight. You're working in a rep range, trying to strive to add reps each week. Once you hit the top end of the rep range, you add 5 pounds, drop to the bottom of the rep range, and work your way up again over time. It's really, really simple. You're gonna wanna do this for every single set of every single exercise in this workout routine. This is the key to progress over time. This single principle, which is progressive overload, is responsible for 90% of your results. And the key thing to keep in mind here is that this process will not be linear unless you're brand new to weight training. In that case, the first 6 months, you might be able to see really linear progress in terms of your strength. But if you have any weight training under your belt, this process is going to be relatively slow. For example, on week 2 here, and you're at 185 for 7 reps, you might be stuck at 185 for 7 reps for like 2 or 3 weeks. Like that's very, very common. I'm just showing you this as an example. It doesn't actually work this linearly. The key thing here though is that you have this progression method in place and that you're constantly striving for gains. It's the striving for progress that actually counts. So the double progression method, this is the simplest and most effective way to gain muscle and strength consistently after 50. Let me leave you with the 4 principles that separate the men over 50 who transform from the ones who stay stuck. The first thing is that consistency beats intensity. Sustainability wins every single time. I don't care if you can commit to a 5-day training plan for a couple weeks before you throw in the towel. Consistency beats intensity. You want to pick a plan that you can actually stick to for life, and this 2 workout method is the most sustainable way to train. The next thing, recovery equals growth. Muscles grow outside the gym, not during your workouts, okay? The workouts are there to stimulate growth, but the actual growth itself happens outside of the gym. Make sure you're allowing for plenty of recovery time each week. Next thing, quality over quantity. 2 hard sets build more muscle than 5 half-assed sets. Getting stronger is all that matters. If the weights are not going up, your body is not changing. Master these 4 principles and you'll look better at 50 than most men do at 30. If this made sense and you want to go deeper into how this works, watch this video next. And if you want my help building your 2-day plan and nutrition around your life, the link to apply for coaching is below.